Our reading this morning is from the book of Matthew, the 7th chapter, verses 24 through 29. Everyone there who hears the words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on rock. The rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house. But it did not fall because it had been founded on rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was its fall. Now when Jesus had finished saying these things, the crowds were astonished at his teachings, for he taught them as one having authority, and not as their scribes.
If you were to add up the experience of everybody in this room, how many teachers do you suppose we've had? How many classes have we attended? Music lessons count. Yeah. How many lectures have we heard? How many papers have we written? How many books? How many exams? I can look back, not as many years of schooling as some of you, but enough. Look back and pick out some really extraordinary teachers who formed me as the person I am today. I think about a high school English teacher. I think about a college cello teacher. I think about some of the Bible professors in seminary and the woman who taught us about prayer. You look back and you have to feel grateful, right? Those good people. They had a wonderful gift. Somehow, in the midst of the ordinary business of a syllabus and a reading list and a heap of information, their job was to get that information into you. Some of them could make their subject come alive. That's what we treasure, right? When somebody has that gift. The people who seduce us into a passion for their subject. So otherwise, the transfer of information from book to brain or from the lecturer's notes to the student's notes is a tedious business. Teacher's job is to pass on the learning and to pass on the love. Pass on a set of skills, a way of thinking, a body of knowledge. And normally what happens is that teachers give their utmost and then they fade away. They retire and someone else, maybe one of their students, takes over. And everybody agrees that what matters is the learning, and so it carries on. The task of education, their job is to equip the next generation to be able to take over like that, hopefully even to go further. Jesus was a teacher, but a different kind of teacher. Here's a description for you. When the crowds gather, he sits them down in the sheep pasture and he says, "Behave as if you never had to be afraid of consequences. Behave as if nothing you gave away could ever make you poorer, because you can never run out of what you give. Behave as if this one day we're in now were the whole of time, and you didn't have to hold anything back, or to plot or scheme about tomorrow. Don't try to grip your life with tight, anxious hands. Unclench those fingers. Let go. If someone asks for your help, give them more help than they've asked for. If someone hits you, let them. Don't retaliate. Be the place the violence ends. Because you've got it wrong about virtue. It isn't something built up from 1,000 carefully measured acts. It comes when it comes in a rush. It comes from behaving as far as you can like God himself, who makes and makes and loves and is nevertheless for it. God doesn't want your careful virtue. He wants your reckless generosity. Try to keep what you have and you'll lose even that. Give it away and you'll get back more than you bargained for, more than bargaining could ever get you. By the way, were you wanting a king? Look at that flower over there by the wall. More beautiful than any royal robe, don't you agree? Better than silks, and it comes bursting out of the ground all by itself, free and gratis. It's a kind of teaching you can't turn into a syllabus. Make a list, here are the key points in the key order, and the key point actually disappears. Because it isn't about information, it's about the life of God in you. It isn't about rules, although Jesus doesn't not deny that we need them. It's about a kind of being that calls to new heights of goodness. Every time we get conventional, Jesus pulls the rug out from under us. Even now, even with everything we think we know. Don't be conventional, be alive. He tells stories. He tells stories full of people we recognize. Workers, pairs of brothers, officials doing their jobs, people who say yes to you and then let you down. Thieves and cheats, frightened people hanging on for dear life, insufferable religious people. All of them, maybe all of them, preoccupied, which is key because we're preoccupied too. Listen to him, and we think we're on familiar ground. We think we know, oh, the story's going like this is what's going to happen. But then he'll swerve it in some completely different direction, and it's like he holds up a mirror to us so we can see our own boring conventionality, our stuckness. Come on, he says, there's a better way. Live. Follow me. He thinks differently because he has a different starting point. He starts with an all-consuming oneness with God, so everything he says comes from there. Again and again, the reason he can trip us up is because that's not where we are. But he offers it to us. He invites us to join him, which becomes a lifelong journey of reorientation. God at the center, love, compassion, the energies flowing through the universe, more and more defining us. Love, the source of our being here. Love, the reason for our lives. The result is that even after 2,000 years of retelling his stories and digging into what he taught, his words can still blindside us with insights to turn the world inside out. Just when we think we've finally exhausted it, we've read them all so many times. Got it all under control, no more surprises. Somebody reads one of his parables in a fresh way, and we start all over again. I don't know if my sermon is back to front or inside out or what, but I'm going to do my own swerving here because through this week it's really hit me. Every time we've gathered, somebody has said, Christmas isn't happening for me this year. Somebody said it at the Wednesday morning discussion group. I heard somebody say it behind the scenes at choir. Somebody said it at women's breakfast. And then when I hear it, the preacher in me gets hooked, right? It must be my fault. If I were doing this right, if I were just inspiring enough, it would be happening for you, then I think, how stupid is that? Or how unrealistic? And then I think, is this a little glimpse into what it's like to be a parent and to feel the weight of wanting to make Christmas happen for a child? I do feel that I'm supposed to make it happen for you. It feels good to say that out loud so that I can excuse myself, maybe get off that, whatever it is, pedestal, soapbox. But where is it? Where is it? How do you find it? The thing that's supposed to happen. What is it? One person said it's joy. It's being overcome with joy, which, as we thought about it, we kind of agreed might be a childhood experience that eludes us as adults. And others haven't said, but I've wondered about the grimness of the news these days. Jonathan, thank you. I don't know what to do with that one. Impeachment, though, is not enough. Conflict, democracy in such awful shape. But then isn't the news always grim? And then I've wondered about the people who are missing. How does Christmas survive the death of people who are supposed to be there? We're supposed to be here. And yet, what if we didn't look for Christmas to be in some past kind of mold? What if this Christmas had something new to bring us? What is waiting to be born in you? What is waiting to be born in you? What's waiting to be born in us together? The question gets more powerful as the weeks go by. This week, what I want to ask is that you don't just leave it here. Don't just put it in the recycling with the bulletin that you're done with. Take it home and live with it. If something is missing for you, then don't give up. Grab it and keep following it until it takes you where you're supposed to go. What is waiting to happen? What is waiting to be born? And consider that it might be Jesus. What I've been wanting to do this Advent is to lift him up again and show him to you afresh. Jesus in his walk with God, that was 2 weeks ago. Jesus, the healer, last Sunday, healing then and healing now. And today, Jesus, the teacher, but not of information. Jesus, the always extraordinary teacher for our lives. Sermons are just words, the ones that go straight where they're supposed to go and the ones that go all over the place. Just words until the Spirit of God comes to set our hearts on fire. So, help me out here. Let's look for the fire. It's there. Don't give up till you find it. Amen. Through our offerings of life and not least of our resources, Christ comes alive. His message of love and hope, his kingdom comes alive in our midst. Your gifts will be received now.
Say